I'll be a smartass here. Yes. But let me clarify that. We have found that the best way to change a faulty movement pattern is not just with movement prep at the front or back of an exercise session, but let's say I have found a serious mobility issue in the way you lunge. You really round your low back. You don't use your hips. You don't use your rotation in your upper back, and your lunges are very, very wanting for better form. Then we literally would warm you up with some stretching.
Yeah.
And then we would go into a lunging activity, so you would build on the gain that you made. We would immediately superset another stretch or the same stretch before we did another loaded cycle. So, we don't just look at mobility or stability as this thing that occurs or gets juiced up in your warm-up. We realize that bad movement is a behavior. And the best way to break a bad behavior is to constantly challenge it. So every time you do it wrong, we've got something that basically removes the barrier. So if I superset a corrective maneuver between each of your conditioning maneuvers, then as you're trying to get stronger in your lunging pattern, your quality is consistently challenged throughout the workout, just like your quantity is. And so we've said in the most important movement dysfunction situations, don't just lean on your warm-up or your cool-down. Superset a corrective maneuver with a conditioning maneuver. And a lot of people say, well, that's going to cut into my exercise. Believe it or not, it won't. Because here's what happens. When you increase your mobility, you can't lean on your stiffness anymore. And it requires a significantly greater amount of coordination and motor control. So you're going to feel sloppy as hell when you do your next set of lunges. You may even have to go down in weight in your walking lunges. And I have no problem with that at all, because at least it's authentic, and at least you're using motor control to balance and lift the weight instead of your inherent stiffness. So the way I see it is we're going to remove some stiffness, which used to be a crutch. It wouldn't be there if you didn't use it somehow. So we're going to remove some of your stiffness and then exploit that at your level of competence. And then you're going to basically have to do something else. You can't lean on your stiffness, so you're going to have to basically acquisition some more motor control. It's going to be taxing, even if you got to go down in weight and go down in reps. But then you're going to immediately go and open up some more mobility. So you may find yourself temporarily going down in quantity to make a qualitative change. But I think the whole supersetting your corrective with your conditioning is probably the quickest way to make a change. And so I've put this to the test. In a professional sports situation where we really got to get a guy moving better in a short amount of time, the warm-up and the cool-down is not adequate. But supersetting a corrective maneuver right up against a conditioning maneuver is about the quickest way to really, really change movement.